Alright, quitting time, opening day. Friends helped me out with the topography of the layout of the land. Picked a nice saddle, did see some deer. They hightailed it, literally. They had their whitetail tail flags waving as they just went running right up this hill here. Boom, ba boom, boom, boom. Didn't have a shot, didn't even see them until they were exiting. And then over here, just walking along this trail. And he just like stood like right there, broadside. Just for a moment, he got a little freaked out because the antler was so thin and so small that instead of reaching for the gun, I reached for the camera. And that's the shot you should see. But he hears the little beep, beep, beep. I got to figure out a way to silence the beeps. And he starts running off. He just took off down that trail there, you can see. Yeah. And I tried to get him again, film him as he was disappearing into the woods. But man, their camouflage right now is right about perfect. Nice chestnut color on them. They're transitioning into a little bit more of a winter gray. Wish I could have brought one home. If you only seen the walk that I got to do, the trek to get into this location. It's nice. There are some clear-cut paths that you can follow. It was actually easier in that respect, so you can make some good time. But it's a heavy hump, and it's a good distance. So, yeah, I'd have to make at least 2 trips. One for the gear and one for the deer. It's opening day. Opening day. What are you gonna do? It's another thing if you put in all this time, effort, and energy, and you don't see anything. It's a nice saddle. Haven't seen anything yet. That's loud. Can you hear that? It's such loud. Little known secret. The deer love Jesus. Andrew. Natalie. Shh. We must be very, very quiet. I wish you guys could have seen it. I'll see if it got picked up or not on camera. Jeez. Trying to figure out what time it is. It is
right at 10:27, and the only deer, it sounded like a whole herd was coming up through the from the hillside, and I couldn't tell it. Then it sounded like they were coming down through the into the saddle, and I really didn't have much time. There was one that didn't look like it had any antlers at all. And then there was a second, it looked like it had a little rack. And I'm like, whoa, what should I do? What should I do? There was actually a third deer. A third deer, and that's the one that I ended up firing on. Oh, man. Initially, it didn't look like he was hit. But I knew I had a good shot. I knew I had a good bead on him. So I didn't have much time. I kind of just made like a quick blip just to get him to stop in his tracks. The three of them, they were sneaking through. They weren't stopping. They were trying to get somewhere. And as soon as he cleared the tree, luckily when I went blip, I timed it just right. He heard me. His vitals were exposed just on the right side of the tree. I had the bead, and I didn't overthink it. As soon as I was on him, I cracked the shot, and that was it. He didn't fall right over, but he turned around and headed the other direction. Unlike the other two deer that kept going, and it wasn't until he got to this path over here that he stumbled and fell. We're gonna give it a few minutes. I'm pretty sure it's a done deal. He kicked a few times after hitting the ground, but it's pretty much a done deal. But I'll just give it a few minutes just to be sure. Whew. 300 Blackout. That was the first time I used Leslie on a living creature, and the first time I used 300 Blackout. Safety's on. We're locked and loaded, ready to go just in case. That area there. So that tree, that's what I remember seeing in my mind's eye. We'll see what the tail of the tape says. And I went, boop, and he stopped right about there, exposed his vitals. He ran all the way across, back over to here, the trail. That's when I knew he was affected, but I didn't see it taking him over until right about there. He really had a problem, and then he crashed and burned right over that side of the trail. It hasn't moved anymore, and it was the biggest of the three. Darker than the other two, bigger body than I'm accustomed to seeing in these woods. It started to hit me. I had to put everything aside to connect the shot and just make it happen. And now it's here it is like 20 minutes later, and it's getting to me. I guess it's about time now to start climbing down. All right.
So they've got Pennsylvania and Maryland. And that's Maryland over there, and Pennsylvania over here. And look, there's another signpost just over there. Whew, this is what I meant by hill and dale. You gotta go through several of these. Oh, heavy hump. Once again, that's looking into the Pennsylvania side. Looking in to the Maryland side. If you only realized how far I've come just to get here. And I had to find my way in the dark this morning. Having never been here before. Oh man. Do you see that? Way over there? Yep. That's my truck. Oh. Parked right over by the border. Ran into a hunter. There's also another hunter down there. Can you see him? It's the second guy that I found along this clear cut. Very strange. They're not even bothering to go in the woods. Neither one of them had a stand with them. They're just sitting on the open area. You don't go into the thick.